A mother's silent pain. This emotional story will break your heart. Emotional English story. He was just a boy chasing his soccer ball until a car changed everything. His mother never left his side, whispering hope into his silence. What happened next will break your heart and restore your faith in love. Welcome to English Stories with Sherry, where every story helps you speak better English. Learn grammar, pronunciation, and vocabulary the fun way through powerful stories you'll never forget. The rain fell softly on the hospital windows, a quiet rhythm that barely filled the silence of the small room. Inside, a woman sat alone on a worn-out chair, her eyes locked on the fragile figure lying motionless on the bed. Her name was Maria. She hadn't moved in hours. Her hands were clasped tightly, her knuckles white, her lips silently repeating a prayer she had whispered thousands of times before. Her son, Liam, was just 10 years old. A boy full of dreams, laughter, and mischief. A boy who used to run barefoot through the fields, chasing butterflies, shouting at the wind, and laughing so hard that the neighbors would peek outside to see what was so joyful. But now, Liam lay still. Machines beeped and tubes ran from his tiny arms, but he hadn't spoken in days. The accident had taken more than just his voice. It had taken away the light in his eyes. Maria's world had once been loud and full of life. She was a single mother, working 2 jobs, doing everything she could to give Liam the life he deserved. Every morning, she would leave before sunrise, gently brushing Liam's hair as he slept. Every night, she'd return exhausted but smiling, ready to hear about his day. He'd greet her with wild stories, proudly showing her the stars he earned at school, or the drawings he made just for her. He'd always say, "One day, Mama, I'll make you proud." And she'd laugh, kiss his forehead, and whisper, "You already do." But life has a cruel way of changing in a heartbeat. It was a rainy evening. Maria had just finished her shift at the diner. She was running late, her feet aching, her uniform stained with coffee. She wanted nothing more than to see her son, hug him, and hear his stories. But as she turned the corner near their street, she saw flashing lights. Police. Ambulance. Neighbors standing frozen, mouths covered, eyes wide. Her heart dropped. Liam had been hit by a car. He had run across the street, chasing his soccer ball. The driver hadn't seen him. It all happened too fast. From that moment, everything became a blur. The sirens. The shouting. The hospital. The endless waiting. Doctors came and went, their faces always serious. Words like coma, brain swelling, and critical swirled around her, but Maria couldn't hear them. She only heard Liam's laughter in her head. She only saw the way he used to run into her arms. Now, sitting beside his bed, Maria watched the rise and fall of his chest. Every breath he took gave her hope. Every flicker of his eyelids felt like a miracle. But the doctors weren't hopeful. They gently warned her Liam might never wake up. Still, Maria refused to believe them. Day after day, she sat by his side. She told him stories. She brought his favorite books, played his favorite songs, even brought his old teddy bear, the one missing an ear. She whispered memories into his ear, her voice cracking with emotion. She believed that somehow, somewhere, her son could hear her. She didn't eat. She didn't sleep. Her body grew weak, but her spirit stayed strong. Other parents came and went. Some left with joy. Others with heartbreak. But Maria remained. Unmoving. Waiting. One night, as the moonlight filtered through the curtains, Maria took Liam's hand and began to speak, not with hope, but with sorrow. "Liam," she whispered, her voice trembling, "do you remember the time you built a spaceship out of cardboard? You told me we were going to the moon, and I believed you. You've always taken me to the stars, my boy. You've always been my light." A tear rolled down her cheek. "If you're tired, baby, if you're too tired to fight, it's okay. I'll understand. I'll always love you, whether you wake up or not. But if there's even the smallest part of you that wants to come back to me, please just come back." The machines continued to beep. And then, something happened. A flicker. Maria's eyes widened. She stood up, her heart pounding. "Liam." His fingers moved. Just barely. But it was real. The nurses rushed in. The doctors followed. Tests were run. Maria stood in the hallway, clutching her hands to her mouth, not daring to believe it. Minutes passed like hours. And then, a nurse stepped out, smiling. "He's waking up." Maria collapsed to her knees, sobbing. Liam's recovery was slow. Painful. But every step forward felt like a miracle. He had to learn to walk again, to speak, to remember. But through it all, Maria never left his side. She held his hand during therapy, wiped his tears when it hurt too much, and cheered louder than anyone when he took his first steps again. Years passed. Liam grew taller. Stronger. His scars faded, but Maria's love never did. One day, on his high school graduation, Liam stood on stage, holding his diploma with shaky hands. The audience clapped. Maria sat in the front row, tears streaming down her face. She wore the same necklace Liam had made for her in 3rd grade, a plastic heart that said "Best Mom." Liam stepped up to the microphone. "I wasn't supposed to be here," he said, his voice echoing through the auditorium. "Doctors said I wouldn't wake up. But my mother, she never gave up on me. She stayed when no one else did. She believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. This diploma isn't just mine. It's hers. Because every step I've taken with her hand in mine." The crowd stood, applauding. Maria looked up at her son, her heart full. All the pain, all the nights spent crying, all the silent prayers they had led to this moment. After the ceremony, Liam walked over and hugged her. "You made me strong, Mama." Maria held him tight. "You were always strong. I just reminded you." And in that embrace, all the years of silent suffering turned into something beautiful. Her pain, though deep and real, had shaped a story of resilience. A story of love that refused to give up. A story that began in sorrow but ended in strength. Today, Liam works at a children's hospital, helping kids recover from injuries, sharing his own story with parents who sit in the same silent pain Maria once did. He kneels beside their beds, holds their hands, and says, "I know it hurts. But love is stronger than pain. My mother taught me that." Maria, now retired, spends her mornings tending to a small garden in her backyard. She grows lilies, Liam's favorite flower. Every bloom reminds her of how life, no matter how broken, can bloom again. The world sees her as just a mother. But to Liam, and to all those she touched, she is a symbol of unconditional love. A quiet warrior. A heart that never stopped beating for someone else. Not all heroes wear capes. Some sit by hospital beds. Some cry in silence. Some hold on when everyone else lets go. And sometimes, love pure, patient, and painful can pull someone back from the edge. This was the story of a mother's silent pain. And the miracle that grew from it. Thanks for listening to English Stories with Sherry. If you learned something new today, like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful stories that make learning English easy. See you in the next one.